Greetings, everyone. This is Guru Mayer, and I'm bringing you another class on viral emotions. So, in the first class, we talked about betrayal. This whole series within viral emotions is on the topic of betrayal. And so, betrayal is when you are expecting you have expectations of a situation or a person to treat you in a certain way or behave a certain way, and they don't, to put it mildly. I heard a lot of examples last week from people. One of the biggest one is really relationships, where and cheating sexually in relationships. It's a big source of betrayal. But there are many, many kinds. When someone doesn't back you up at work. And of course, we've got betrayal by a spiritual teacher or someone in authority, or even a governmental leader that you voted for, something like that. So it's pretty heavy. And last week we talked about shock and how, well, you can go back to that class. I want to give a little disclaimer that everyone processes things in their own way and in their own time. And so you may not be where in your process with recovery, where in the place where I'm talking about today. But I'm hoping this whole series will give you some options for when you're feeling those things. Now, we're following pretty closely to the 7 stages of grief that are widely known, and that's because that's what happens in betrayal. And why is betrayal related to grief? Because grief is about loss. So when something important to you is gone, then grief and sadness come in. And since we don't usually know how to work with our emotions, then grief takes on these other forms, and shock and disbelief are the first one. So we talked about that last time. Now, what often comes next, and again, not everyone goes exactly in this formula, but there's denial and anger. Steps 2 and 3. So denial's not an emotion, and my expertise is in emotions, so we're gonna talk mostly today about anger. But let's look at denial. So first, your world is shattered. Your worldview, or at least of one situation or one person, is shattered. And we live in the safety of the known. So knowing that the ground is under me, knowing that I'm healthy, knowing that this person is going to treat me in a certain way that I expect, that gives me safety. So that's why we're shocked, and it's very disruptive. It's very, depending on how much of our safety and worldview depend on the way we thought things were, the trust that we placed, then the more the devastation is going to be. So this is all about how do we recover from those things. And there are known ways, and even I call them skills, to use emotions to recover. So shock, and we talked about recovering one's power, right? So let's talk about disbelief a little bit. Disbelief is a way to maintain life as you knew it, status quo, which is before I have to go into the painful process of shifting my beliefs and the way I thought things were, then I'd rather not do that. So I'm going to try to not believe. I'm going to try to say, well, there must be some other explanation. There must be some other reason for this. Certainly I can't change all the ways of thinking. Let me just hold on. So it's very understandable. But what often happens is disbelief can work for a while. Some people can hold on to it forever, I suppose. But as evidence mounts, it's so sad, so many people that I've counseled have, told me, oh my God, I just found out that he's been cheating for 3 years. Or I found out this goes back decades, and maybe I had a little inkling or maybe I didn't. Probably earlier, and forgive yourself for this, I didn't want to believe. It was just, think how your life changes in a betrayal. Like, I'd rather hold on to not have to go down that painful path. So let's be very understanding and compassionate about denial. And, in working with others and denial, you don't need to convince anybody of anything. Really, my go-to in this will be about personal responsibility. All right. So you don't want to. You might want to help a friend and say, look, you really got to deal with this, and that might be very good advice to help them see. But denial is a safety protection mechanism. So, you don't want to, the 7 stages of grief are all about a slow shift rather than a shocking one. An attempt to slow things down a little bit. All right. So that's all I'm going to say about denial today. It's a safety mechanism, and it may be very painful to go from just holding on through denial to my old way of seeing the world or seeing this person or believing everything that I believe to, okay. So once I go over the edge, like, oh, it's true, it happened, right? So I was in shock, I was in denial. Now I move over into, if this is true, I've been tremendously violated. I've been cheated. I've been, betrayal can be a direct physical abuse of your person. Betrayal can be more distant, but it is a direct harm, right? Think about, so once I've agreed or willing to accept that this betrayal happened, I move over into realizing I've been harmed. And that harm can happen in, countless ways. Not only the worldview, the beliefs, the safety I've talked about, but the direct consequences of the betrayal. So I want you to, if you're dealing with betrayal now, I want you to think about, make a list. Yeah, part of your healing is to make a list of all the forms of harm. Right? So what's been harmed? My body, my feelings, my trust in people, my view of men or spiritual teachers, and it may be sexist to assume that the betrayal in sex comes from a man, to a woman. That's not always the case, but it's statistically overwhelmingly the case. So there's a little disclaimer if I've offended anyone. All right, so harm, and I am suggesting you might make a list of types of what's been hurt. My feelings, my trust, my body. Some people's sex lives are forever changed, or their love lives, let's just say, or their business relationships. I can never trust anyone again. That's a super safe, stance, although it limits relationships and connections, of course. So anger is the emotion that deals with protection, that it gives you this intense energy to supercharge or give you fuel to protect yourself. In its essence, anger comes, I've been harmed, anger comes to try to protect me from now in the current situation and from future harm. So there lies the rub. When we become emotional, we become irrational. That's because emotions want to just act fast, deal with the thing, get out of danger. But we're not talking about a wildcat at our door. We're talking about something societal that has to do with our relationships and connections. And so it's not, we need to be more cognizant of how to use this emotion than just reacting. So what you'll find in the initial reaction, again, anger is trying to help protect you in the current situation and from future harm. But when we're emotional, react, so what do you see people do? Just hate, just like hate on the person or anyone else involved, anyone, in divorces, the two parties try to get their friends to take sides, right? So now there's sides and we're warring. And so building a case of hatred for the person that did me harm and all people that are on their side, right? That's going to be one. And I'm not judging any of this. I'm just describing what happens. You can relate to it however your experience, agrees with this. But I'm first going to list a lot of natural reactions of trying to use anger to protect ourselves that are not entirely effective. Can I be polite that way? So one can stay just angry for a very long time, and that it feels good, right, to be angry. I mean, we're a little scared of anger, but God, it feels like I'm stronger. It feels like nobody's going to hurt me and I'm going to hurt them. So hurting in return may feel good, may or may not be constructive. Being angry at, let's say, all similar people for the rest of my life would feel good and would be safe. If I never love again, I can never get hurt again. But we don't really ultimately want to live without love or without connection. So we need a little more sophisticated use of our anger. Another widespread, I was going to say important, another misuse of anger is when we blame ourselves. Now, next week we'll talk about guilt. So guilt is another stage of grief that we might feel with betrayal. But similar, with an element of that, when anger is turned against ourselves, like I'm so mad at myself for being such a fool, for not realizing sooner, for being naive. So inner anger, we call it. So when anger is turned against yourself. Now again, you're the victim here. It happened to you. So attacking yourself is not really going to ultimately be productive or protective, right? So we've got attacking the attacker or attacking myself. Certainly attacking the attacker is going to be a better of the two, but let's go further. And in just a few minutes, we'll do a practice to see if we can redirect our anger. So if I've been betrayed, I've been hurt, and anger's now coming out, I guess I should mention also total repression of anger. So that's sort of an offshoot of inner anger when I just, I should forgive them. I should be nice. I need to be a good Christian or a good spiritual person. And so, I'm actually really angry, but I think I should forgive, or I should be nice, or I'm gonna, in certain captive situations, I'm gonna be hurt worse if I act out. Okay, so in abusive situations or very dependent situations, a person that's being hurt may have to bottle that up and just swallow it, so that, because they know that the intense reaction of their abuser will come back even worse. God bless us, human beings. It can be tough. Now, yeah, so somebody's saying some people don't feel their anger at all, and I was just about to go there, that if it's my survival feels like on the line to not show anger, I'm going to learn to not feel it at all. And there are many other avenues that we get to total numbness or repression where we, it's been, things get worse for me when I show anger. The angry abuser that I'm working with, shuts me down even more. This happens, culturally, in community, in family. So there can be many conspirators to keep this abuse a secret and then keep everybody quiet. Again, many reasons for that, loyalties, etc. So thanks for that. Yes, some people, but I want to go some nuance, a little more nuanced into the statement that some people don't feel anger or jealousy at all. The mechanism to feel, the actual ability to feel, it almost never goes away. That would be a very severe dysfunction, physiological. I think even that, I would propose, could be recovered, because emotion is like heartbeat and lungs. I mean, it's wired in our nervous system, in our brains. And so in this case, there needs to be a safe re-entry, a safe recovery of our ability to feel, a safe recovery of our ability to have anger and use it in a productive way. So that goes back to all these misuses as well. How can this anger is coming to protect me from current and future harm, and in parentheses, anger can help process past harm as well. But that's another class. So here's a little exercise. This one is pretty strong. In other words, we could do a much milder re-entry into anger, but we're going to use the physical body in the language, the body language of anger, to help us vent it a little bit. If anger's bottled up, it's like a volcano that's capped, or like shaking volcano's a better analogy. That pressure builds until it blows. So if we have a way to innocently or without doing harm, vent off some of this steam, and then, well, let's see how you do. Maybe you'll feel, yeah, this is not so bad. I like feeling strength, because what are the positive qualities of anger? Okay, so we know it can be destructive. We know it can be self-destructive. But anger is also the energy of courage, of determination, of fighting the good fight, of protest and reform. And those things all take time and energy and keep going. So in this short practice we'll do, it's about 6 minutes, I will largely be silent, but I'll be coaching you through just lightly, well, not lightly, but entering into the physiological and emotional sensations of anger, so that they're not something distant or horrible, because we're not gonna hurt anybody with this. And then see if we can relate that anger to its positive purposes. In other words, reframe how we see anger. Because hasn't anger betrayed us? Hasn't your anger hurt someone else and made a situation worse? Hasn't anger in someone else been a part of their betrayal to you? So we've got to recapture and harness this energy, okay? So that's enough talk. Let's do a practice. And today's class will go a little over 31 minutes maybe. I try to make this short and sweet, but here we go. Here's the practice. originally mainly for inner anger, but it's everything else I just said. So put your thumb at the inside, at the bottom of your pinky finger, and close your fists around, okay? And then out here like this, okay? So look at the body language already. Just look at yourself, you know, like, right? Now, when I have anger against myself, as I've said before, I might like beat myself, right? But this is also a protective stance, right? Let's see. Yeah, we're not going to cross them. We're going to go boom. So now look at your body language. Look at me. Look at you. Look at these strong fists protecting myself, protecting my heart, right? Okay, so this has a double meaning. Like I'm hating on myself, or I'm just trying to vent my anger, like just feel it in a safe way. But I'm stopping before I hit myself, and I'm protecting myself, all right? So now this one also comes, we want to vocalize. Do you know that one of the best uses of your anger is your voice, and not just hating on people or yelling at them, but speaking up and saying, hey, that hurt me, don't do that ever again. So we're going to use our voice as we do this, and the chant is Hada, which means God, but also Hud. It brings breath and navel point. Hud, Hud, Hud. So chant it like a sumo wrestler, like a warrior, okay? So here it is, we chant Hud. Tongue hits the roof of the mouth, right? 3 sounds. And duh, 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 Hud, duh. All right? So here we go, 6 minutes. And this is like a little mini tantrum, so I hope you're in a quiet place where you can let it out, because we're going to just go for it, okay? So here we go. Hud, 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 Hud. At this point, don't just be watching me do it, okay? Join me now. You got to feel this and let some constructive energy of anger start flowing in you. So let's go. Hud, 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 Hud. Little mean face. Come on, little angry face. Let's go. This is called a sacred tantrum, where we're blessing ourselves, protecting ourselves, doing no harm, and feeling the good stuff. You know, our power. Come on now. Never again. Won't get fooled again. Hud, 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 Hud. Do a gruff voice. Do a very guttural voice. Do a lot of breath coming out. Come on now. Hud, 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 Hud. I hope you'll chant loud, and you'll my throat's hurting. I'm going to drink a little bit. Keep going, and just be mad. Come on, let it go. Hud, 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 Hud. Come on now, join me. Hud, 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 Hud. Now this is a good time when you're feeling the energy flowing and feeling, yeah, you can I can handle this, I can take it. We're about halfway through already, 2.5 minutes. We're going for 6. You'll start feeling a little hot, a little warmed up. You'll notice any reactions to your own anger, right? Are you embarrassed, afraid of your own anger, all right? Well, this is just an experiment, a little in a safe space, in a test tube experiment, so please go for it. Now, you may, as you're releasing real anger, you might start relating to things that you're angry about. And especially if you've been a repressor, you may be very surprised how angry you are and how many things you're angry at. But come on, this will be safe. We'll recover. We'll be quietly meditating in a few minutes. You'll be okay. But you're always in charge of how much you want to release. Or, if you still don't trust your anger, you don't want to do this today, 1 minute's enough, and you come back another day. But if you're ready to go for it, go ahead and think about any or all betrayals, any and all harms. Let them surface now, while you've got the power to withstand them. The shock of betrayal is that it's so sudden and unexpected that we initially believe we can't handle it. We don't have the power. This is too much, right? You ever think that? Oh, this is too much. No. And so denial, shock, denial. But now we're into dealing head on with, yes, this happened and I got to handle it. So feel that energy in you. You know, anger and I can handle it are the same stuff. Here we go, just another minute. And I hope you can, in this last minute, this is just 6 minutes. You might need to do this every day for a while. Can you rise up above those feelings of helplessness, powerlessness, I should have known, blaming yourself? Come on, just rise up and say like, okay, it happened and here I am. You know, hear me roar. All right? So last 30, 45 seconds now. You might find yourself crying. Come on, this is a release, a healthy release. Here we go. You might feel exhausted, tired, but bring the strength of spirit. The strength of spirit. I shall prevail. I shall recover. I shall prevail and never effing again will I be fooled. All right, now stop. Put your hands over your heart, one over the other, right over your sternum, the center of your chest, center of your heart. Now go quiet. Whew, just feel the energy. It feels good. Okay, feel the power. Don't be afraid of it. Circulate it. Enjoy any feelings of power and strength. And it's okay if you're angry. So accept the anger. It's here to help protect you. But it does need some guidance from just the raw animal emotion. Taming a wild horse takes a little time, so you're just breathing. Now you might want to direct some of this power, this energy into your chest, your heart. Because in any betrayal, these are all stages of grief, by the way. So really what's happening is you're grieving. But if I've tipped you into that, fine. But stay with anger now. If you can, stay with anger. Like, okay, so feel your sense of, first repair your sense of power, of choice, of voice. Like, okay, you just got to take your power back. Like, okay, I was harmed, but now what? Now what do I do? So asking your heart what to do with anger, that's a good strategy. So just talk to your heart. That's what's been hurt. Oh, my heart, my loving heart, you've been hurt. Tell me how to use my anger, my power to protect myself. What do I need? And just be open. Don't try to think your answers. Feel your answers from your instincts and your intuition. How do I go forward? What's the question you need right now? There's going to be many stages. You don't have to solve it all right now. What do I need in this minute, in this day, to heal, to restore dignity and honor, to stop immediate harm? Just want to give you some silence to talk with your heart. Listen inside your body how to use this power. To move forward, to heal. There is a calm after every storm. You might be feeling it just in this practice, and is true in life. Peace shall return to you, honor and dignity, even your innocence. It's right there in your heart, shall return, but there may be some work to do. Some repair work, some rebuilding the fortress, right? To not have to hurt somebody else to protect myself. But you might have to be very forceful to protect yourself. All right. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. And relax now, hands down. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes. In this kind of work, people often get some answers that you might want to record right now, because they can be fleeting, hearing the truth. You can quickly go back to just all your old ways of thinking. So sometimes it's useful to make a few notes. I appreciate people chatting me up and saying hello, but if anybody wants to comment their experience or ask a question, all right. People are thanking me. In live stream I can't interact so well, but if anybody wants to chat, a comment, your comments and experiences are always very useful. So this is second in this series within Viral Emotions about betrayal, and so they'll be posted in also here in my Facebook timeline, but I also put them up in a playlist on my YouTube channel. So if you want to continue, maybe go back. Eventually, week by week, we'll build this whole series, which is really the processing of the different emotions that come up, which involve grief and healing from all kinds of wounds. And we're talking about betrayal. So